I'm really excited to present to you the project trailer for the Bio20 project entitled Join the Pack. This project will help you learn and cover and master the outcomes from ecosystems and population change. So this project is going to use the gray wolf as its cornerstone and as its theme, and we're going to look at a case study of Yellowstone National Park and the extinction of the gray wolf from that area, and then the subsequent reintroduction and in the early 90s, and now the kind of reborn healthy population of gray wolves that exist in Yellowstone National Park today. You're going to look at everything from habitats and niches to populations, community, and ecosystems, and how those things are related to each other, and kind of how ecologists study those populations, those communities, and those ecosystems. And because they can see what's happening in a population, they can talk a little bit about maybe something, a limiting factor in that ecosystem. You're also going to look at species, and you're going to specifically look at evolution of species. So what are the theories that we have as scientists to explain how species have changed over time? We're also going to look at how, as scientists, do we classify species and name them with their special scientific names. This topic is quite hot topic right now, especially in BC. Alberta has just recently finished their wolf cull, C-U-L-L. And when someone says cull, that's like a systematic killing of a population. So I'm going to show you two videos. The first one is a news item from the BC News.
Wolves are a top predator, but in BC, the hunter has become the hunted. Wolves are being killed as part of a cull aimed at saving the endangered mountain caribou. It's a controversial provincial program, and one that's peeved a certain pop star.
Hello, Clem 2.
Miley Cyrus was in northern BC this weekend, touring wolf territory with conservationists and the Kitasoo-Hey-Hey First Nation. Cyrus has publicly proclaimed that she's vehemently against the cull. Earlier this month, she urged millions of her fans to sign an online petition calling for it to end. And now other celebrities, like Pamela Anderson, are doing the same.
This was just an outrage, and any hunting doesn't resolve the problem. It's the habitat.
The provincial government says wolves are responsible for almost half of all caribou deaths, and without intervention, entire herds could disappear. But critics claim reducing the wolf population won't help. They say the real problem is that oil, gas, and forestry companies have encroached on caribou habitat.
What the BC government needs to do is step up, protect that habitat, stop the continued development and fragmentation of it.
The government admits it could take years before the cull is a success, but it insists the program, which has sharpshooters killing wolves from helicopters, is the best option. As for Cyrus, BC's premier had this to say.
I don't think she really knows enough about our environmental policy to comment. If we need her help on our twerking policy in the future, perhaps we can go to her and seek her advice.
So far, 84 wolves have been killed, but the province wants to at least double that number this winter. Melanie Nagy, CTV News.
So it's, like I said, a hot button issue right now in BC. This was filmed about 6 months ago. Or this past year, like 2016. And then this video here is just a bit about the history of the wolf.
Once, very long ago, I was free to roam and howl. The world was big and wide. There was room enough for both wolf and man. Sometimes our paths crossed. We would join our packs to hunt together. Some of us became man's friend. But I stayed in the wild, at the edge of the light. Over time, I became the symbol of what man couldn't tame. In their minds, they made me a monster. Something to be feared. Something to be destroyed. My howl was silenced. When we are missing, mountains are trampled. Rivers lose their way. Balance is lost. When we are allowed to roam, the land rebounds. Balance is restored. It's time for man to stop fearing us and embrace the wild.
So you're going to spend the whole project basically deciding if this is really a worthy cause. Should you join the pack? Should you be someone who wants to help save the wolf populations? Or do you believe that there's a time and a place for humans to interact with those populations and keep those populations under control? So a handful of outcomes here in this unit, like I said, or this project. The unit is ecosystems and population change. It's unit B if you're looking at your the Alberta Program of Studies. So you're going to do everything from define what population, species, community, ecosystem mean and how they're all interrelated. Like I said, you're going to look at some historical perspectives. You're also going to look at some current perspectives and scientific theories that exist to explain how populations change over time. You're also going to look at how do species differ. So why do we have a gray wolf here, but a different kind, a red wolf living in Europe? How does that happen? We're also going to look at how do ecosystems influence the kind of species that can live there. So the terrestrial and the aquatic environments that species live in, how does that actually dictate who lives where on Earth? And you're also going to just look at just ecosystems in general and some of the abiotic and biotic factors, which are just fancy words for living and non-living factors that make them up. You're still going to be marked, or you're going to be marked on this rubric of not meeting to exemplary. So you're always trying to strive for that green zone on the rubric to that exemplary. You want to be showing and demonstrating a complex and exemplary understanding in a bunch of ways, in a bunch of complex variety of ways. So there's 4 parts to this project, and that doesn't include your final product or your summative assessments that'll be required of you. So 4 parts to the project. The first part, you're going to be focusing on species, and that's basically the beginning of all ecological studies, is that level of a single organism. Then you're going to be looking at the population and community in part 2, and how those are interrelated, and they're very closely linked, and that's why they're in the same part of the project. Then you're going to look at ecosystems. And how do you study ecosystems and what do ecologists look at? And in part 4, you're going to look at humans and ecological balance and how do humans interact with that. So all of these parts of each part of this project are actually going to tie back to that gray wolf population in Yellowstone National Park. So the entire umbrella of the project is going to be you forming an opinion about whether you're going to join the pack or not, or whether you think that's a worthy cause. And then you're also going to be looking at Yellowstone National Park as your case study and somewhere for you to draw your opinion and your evidence for your opinion from.